Do you ever wonder why is it that when you're alone by yourself, maybe in your room, maybe even in the bathroom, you feel the most free, but often fantasize that you can actually feel that free when you're out in public, right? When you're out and about, when you're walking the streets, when you're at your job, you wish you can just laugh out loud or even dance or even act as if there are no worries and that you're free of any harms or concerns. Well, we're going to get into that today. My name is Peter Abundant, aka Dr. Abundant, PhD and ordained minister of metaphysical sciences, which is the study of everything beyond the physical, ultimately, the study of spirituality. So let's talk about life. Let's talk about exactly the simplest way to actually live your life to the fullest right now. Okay. Not later on, maybe a couple of months from now, maybe 5 years from now. Everybody had that 5 year plan, their 5 year goals, their 10 year goals. Well, let's say none of that matters because honestly, it really doesn't. Let's say you are somebody who identifies with the past. Something has happened to you, maybe some traumatic event, and you tend to hold on to that past, and that past or that event defines you. You identify with it. Well, let's let go of that as well, because honestly, that no longer matters either. So what do we have left? We've disregarded the future, right? Because it really doesn't matter. It doesn't exist. And we're going to let go of the past because the past is over. You can't change it. Not really. So what's left? The only thing that remains is the present moment. And now I know you've heard this before as far as being in the present moment, the now, right? The Power of the Now, one of the most successful books out there. The Power of the Now by Eckhart Tolle. Well, let's really get into it because it's something that is very significant and imperative for you to understand along this journey. It's not just about understanding the concept of it. It's about embodying it. And conceptualizing it is very important. And of course, that is the beginning steps of embodying the essence of that. So why, though, do we feel the need to understand that, hey, the past, it is over, let's let it go. The future, though it is more important than the past, there's no guarantees that we're going to make it to that future, right? Or when we think about the future, we often are worried that the future isn't going to be what we desire, which is another conversation entirely. But ultimately, we're talking about recognizing that life only exists in the moment. Life is essentially this moment. That is what life is. And when you really understand that, you let go of the past because that is only a memory and the future is only a possibility. You recognize that only now exists. When you're feeling the most fulfilled, most joyful, most happy, right? When you're in your living room and you're even cleaning up and you're dancing and you're playing your favorite music, right? Maybe even cleaning the dishes, maybe even watching your favorite movie. It is because you are absolutely caught up and you are in this moment. All right. You're not thinking about the past. You're not thinking about the drama, the trauma, right? You're not concerned about the future. And if the future is going to be possibly worse off than you experienced in your past, right? You're letting those things go, right? They don't even exist in that current moment because you are right here, right now. So the key is understanding that true living happens when you are fully present in the moment, right? And the best way to be present in the moment is by recognizing your desires. Again, this is not about focusing on what you don't want. This is about purely, completely, 100% being focused on what you do want. So when you're dancing in the bathroom, or when you're cleaning up, or when you're watching that favorite movie, right? Or when you're looking into your lover's eyes, or when you're watching your kids play a sport or learn to walk, it is because it is in alignment with your desire. Maybe your desire is to be free, is to dance, is to sing, right? Maybe your desire is to simply just enjoy the music, right? Maybe your desire is to spend time with your family. Maybe your desire is to be caught up with a lover and just be in love and make love, right? So it is about recognizing the connections of joy and fulfillment and how they express and how they actually express and show themselves for you through you. Okay. So we're ultimately talking about desires. We're ultimately talking about how the desires are absolutely a reflection of your authentic self. You see? So when we dial into those desires, they're often encapsulated or captured in moments where we feel the most free, moments where we dial in and tap into that pure essence of who you are. And it is not corrupted by the drama. It's not corrupted by the limiting beliefs and the concepts of paying bills and having responsibilities or obligations that you absolutely have no interest in really wanting to do. It is simply about focusing on your desires. And the trick with desires is understanding that it is different than your wants. Our wants are the normal superficial things, right? The things everybody wants. Everybody wants $1 million. Everybody wants to, maybe be in a relationship. Everybody wants to be in a space where they can do what they want to do, right? Have some level of autonomy and practice their agency and actually do what they want to do when they want to do it. But it really doesn't go deep enough. And that's why a lot of people struggle with getting those wants. Everybody wants $1 million. Well, why is it that everybody is not getting $1 million? It's because that's not the deep seated desire. That's not the core of the essence of why they want that $1 million or why they want that lover, right? They may want a lover because they want attention. You want attention because there's a part of you that may feel like you're not good enough. So there's a worthiness issue that's going on there. So when you understand the difference between want and desire, you recognize that, okay, one is very superficial. Desire is the deep seated, need, so to speak. And so when we go from money, we think about, okay, I want to make money. Well, you truly want what the money can get you. And that will be different for everybody else. So you have to understand your true desire is about acknowledging your most authentic self. Now, when we are feeling the most free, most fulfilled, we're usually tapping into or gaining some kind of clue as to what exactly those things are, right? You being your most authentic self is probably being the person that is just simply deciding to dance out in the street. I'm from New York. So in New York, we're used to seeing people dancing in the street, yelling, right? Doing random things. This because they have that, unhabitual desire to actually do something and they go do it. And as New Yorkers, we watch, we accept, and we keep it moving and we go and live out our day. Right. And this is why I love and miss New York is that there is no other place where that can happen. And yeah, some people may say they're crazy, but still it's said in that second, in that moment, and then people move on and they go about their day. No big deal. Right. So ultimately, this idea of being crazy is really an idea of understanding you are needing to tap into the present moment because that person who is identified as crazy, when you look at them, they have no concerns about your opinions of them being crazy. They couldn't care less. In fact, they are way more happy and fulfilled appearing crazy to you than they can actually care. Like it just doesn't register to them that somebody else can have an opinion about what they feel like doing and are doing in the present moment. You see? So this understanding of wanting to experience life to this fullest and being in connection with the moment is about understanding your authentic self and actually being able to express yourself fully and not be held down by society, by other people's approval, by, needing to gain some kind of approval, some kind of acceptance from others or even a community. It's about recognizing that you are an individual. And when you recognize you are an individual, you recognize that within that in itself, there are important needs, attributes, characteristics that as an individual, you must express. You express that through your desires. Your desires are the thing that drives you to actually express the authentic self. Now, I know there's a lot of layers here, and I'm going to unpack this as quickly as I possibly can, but you must understand that life is happening right now, right this second. And in order for you to live it, truly live it, you must dial into your most authentic self. You must express the desires of that authentic self. That happens now. That happens in the moment. That doesn't happen in the future. Because one, we know the future is not guaranteed. But we also recognize that the future is really a concept. There is no such thing as a future when we really get into it. The future is just simply a moment that we often call now that hasn't happened yet. And so we need to always remember that it always remains about the now. That's the concept of it all. The future is simply the now that hasn't happened yet. So if you focus on the now and living in the now, creating in the now, from your authentic self, creating and moving forward to fulfill, to achieve, to manifest the desires that the authentic self has, then you will absolutely master the now and thus master life, because then you recognize and understand you embody fulfillment. You embody joy. You see, your deepest desires are not random, okay? They are guiding you toward this thing called self-expression. So it's all connected, okay? Those random acts of just dancing or singing in the shower or what have you, they're all connected with your desires, your authentic self, expression, and the current present moment, okay? When you ignore your desires, it disconnects you from true joy and true fulfillment. And we ignore those desires when we focus on the future, which is how I'm gonna pay these bills, how I'm gonna do this, I gotta have a conversation with my partner about this thing. I don't want to get into an argument, da 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 da. Or when we focus on the past, right? This happened to me. I am this. This is, what I know was the truth. And though it is limiting, you still are holding on to it. Okay. Those are ways that we ignore and we are disconnecting ourselves from the present moment in achieving, pursuing, materializing your desire. Okay. So recognize that, your authentic self is what ultimately leads you to your joy. So you have to let go of caring about what other people think. Yeah, we live in a society where there are rules, so you can't just go out and walk around naked, at least not in, urban cities or what have you. I mean, you own some land and sure, go ahead. If you live in a nudist colony, sure, that's accepted. But, generally speaking, long as you are following the rules and you're not breaking any laws, then within that realm, right, you do whatever you want. If the rules, the laws within where you live don't apply or they conflict with you being your authentic self, then go move someplace that aligns with your authentic self. Okay. When you express your truth, your limit, right? When you suppress the truth is what I'm trying to say. When you suppress the truth, you limit your experience of life. You limit the possibilities. You limit the access. You limit the opportunities. Okay. So expressing your truth is how you actually tap into the infinite possibilities of your desires. So you have to recognize that expression is key and suppression is unacceptable. All right. Don't suppress yourself by any means for anyone. Okay. Don't compromise yourself to be accepted. Don't compromise yourself to be loved. Okay. Because as long as you compromise yourself and you're not being authentic, then you are not being accepted. You are not being loved. You see, because love and acceptance is only when you are being authentic. So expressing yourself brings peace. It brings happiness. It brings fulfillment. Be mindful about that. Presence, being authentic, being in the moment is what's going to unlock your true fulfillment. Okay. You can only experience joy, love, and success in the now, in the now. Even when we are visualizing, when we are, conceptualizing, when we are visualizing, imagining, though in the physical world, it hasn't happened yet. And yeah, that's where we get a little confused with time and space. But here, it happens instantly. Here, it is in the present moment when you visualize yourself living that amazing lifestyle, having that amazing relationship, right? Loving and supporting your family, whatever it is you desire. It is here that it is happening in the now. And so therefore, things like gratitude, things like happiness, right? Joy, all those things are experienced in the now because you see it here, you visualize it here, it happens here. Okay. And then eventually, over time, it will materialize, it will become dense in this physical vibration, right? And it will become physical. But here it is spiritual. Here it is instant. Okay. So being present with yourself allows you to access your highest potential. When you are able to be present, it recharges you, right? It opens you up. It opens up your consciousness to recognize that you are the creator of your reality and therefore can create anything you want. So honor this moment. Honor yourself. Okay. Give yourself permission to be, do, and express freely. Okay. Whether it is in your own space, but also allow yourself to do, to be, to express yourself freely outside in the world. Okay. Where people can see you. And if people had things to say, who cares? They have no control. They have no power over your universe. All right. Yeah, they are a reflection of what's going on within you. So if somebody says something negative, or they're critical, then, acknowledge it as a means by which you can continue to evolve, especially to a point where you don't give a damn. Okay. And then eventually it gets to the point where you don't even hear them. You see? So be mindful about that. Honor your desires. Honor your life, right? Honor life itself, because this life is a gift. It's a gift that, unfortunately, we don't know what the expiration date is. So the now is very important with recognizing and gaining real perspective over the fact that anything can happen, right? So it's your job to do all you can at this moment in the now. So ultimately, be authentic. Okay. It doesn't mean be rude. It doesn't mean be brutally honest. It means simply be yourself, especially when you are alone, when you're with yourself. If you have a yearning or desire to get into something, to learn something, to take up a hobby, to try something, then go do it. Okay. Now, if you are at another level where you are okay with going out in public and dancing and singing and being happy and joyful, go do it. All right. If you have feelings for somebody and you want to communicate your love, your affection, the way you adore them and appreciate them, go do it. Okay. Because that is going to create a deeper connection within you and also a deeper connection with them. All right. Remember, life is now. Life is now. It is the present moment. The present moment is life. There is no separation between those things. So when you think about the present moment, think about understanding and tapping into the essence of life and thus creating the life you want. Thank you so much. Feel free, go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, get access to this free ebook, and so much more. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.